So listen, using a pillow to replace hitting, it might seem like a safe outlet, but it's just really not the best idea for a long-term strategy. Hi, my name is Alicia. I am a licensed behavior analyst, newly in Illinois, and I am a parent coach. But let's just dive right into why hitting a pillow might not be the best idea. First of all, it reinforces aggression. Hitting a pillow still involves the physical act of hitting, of aggression. And this can help, it actually helps wire your learner's brain for future occurrences of anger to respond in the form of hitting, rather than learning those coping strategies. It also doesn't teach self-regulation. The goal of a replacement behavior is to teach emotional regulation and an appropriate expression of those feelings. Smashing that pillow might give them a temporary relief, but it doesn't build skills like identifying emotions, calming your body, or using words to express those feelings. And unfortunately, it might generalize back to real hitting, especially in our younger learners that have difficulty generalizing behaviors. Hitting a pillow might blur those lines between what's okay to hit and what's not okay to hit. They might return straight to hitting learners when other kids, when they're upset, thinking it's a pretty similar outlet. It also misses the root cause. It can mask the deeper issues instead of addressing them. Anger and aggression often occurs because of some sort of unmet need, a lack of communication, or they're overwhelmed with some sort of feeling. And hitting a pillow doesn't tackle any of those. Now, instead, it's better to teach calm down through some of the following techniques. And the first one is kind of my favorite. It's what I would call ground the energy. It's still physical, but it's a little bit more calming. Since your learner feels anger in their hands, try to have them squeeze something really firm like a stretch ball or putty. Something that pushes back, but it doesn't really feel like aggression. Push against a wall, your full body, steady pressure. It's weirdly calming, and it gives your learner that physical, release feeling that they need. Or you can have them wash their hands with cold water or splash it on their face. This gives them a quick and powerful way to reset that nervous system. Other ways, you can do kind of like a quick mental reset for those unfair moments. You want your learner to name what is unfair in their head or write it down. This is unfair because it helps your brain switch from reaction to reasoning. Try this line with your learners. I can't control them, but I can control what I do next. This is more grounding, and it shifts the focus back to your learner's power. Now, I don't want you to come here and get some sort of quick tips and tricks. I want you to be able to tailor it for your learner. And how do we do that? First, I want you to ask some of those initial questions to kind of get a grasp of what's going on. First and foremost, you need to ask when and why the hitting is happening. Is it because our learner is angry? Are they frustrated? Are they overstimulated? Something along why. Now I need to move on to the where. Where does it happen? Does it happen at home? Does it happen at school? And then honestly, what have you already tried? Is there anything that has worked even just a little bit? Once you have those initial questions, then we're going to move on to kind of like our heavy hitters, our bigger ones. These ones are going to help you guide what is going to be best in terms of a replacement behavior, more of a suited replacement behavior, right? For your learner. Sorry, I feel like I'm chopping off my head. Okay. So when your learner gets angry, where do they usually feel it in their body? Do they have tense muscles? Do they have a racing heart? Are their hands shaking? Are they frustrated? Are my palms sweaty? This helps your learner start to identify what it feels like when they have those emotions, okay? Then we're going to talk about what kind of situations tend to trigger my learner. Are they angry? Is it when they're disrespected? Is it when they're being ignored? They need attention? Is it when they feel like things are unfair? And finally, you want to talk and you want to think about, what have you tried before? Has anything helped? And I know I said this before, but it's because I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. If something has worked for your learner, you're going to take that and maybe a couple other of these strategies, and you're going to create a melting pot. You're going to figure out what works for your learner, okay? We are going to pick and choose for your learner because the idea is to have them successful. Finding that right replacement behavior is really important because it helps address the underlying need and or function of that original behavior, and it allows your learner to still express that in a positive and constructive way. Okay. Oh, that was a mouthful. Okay. So thank you so much for watching and joining me in my closet during my closet chronicles with homegrown behaviors. If you found this helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, and you can take a journey with me and take a look at my Instagram and see maybe other helpful parent coaching ideas that might help you along with your parenting journey. Until next time, I hope to see you next time in my closet.